Lord said, confession good for the soul. So right now, all I ever wanted was to be a gangster. Little did I know I wasn't danger. Decisions that I made provoked the Lord's anger. Prayed to him all the time, and I was just a stranger. All I ever wanted was to be a gangster. Little did I know I wasn't danger. Decisions that I made provoked the Lord's anger. Prayed to him all the time, and I was just a stranger. All I wanted was to be a gangster and shot call. To be known with them niggas letting shots off. All right, so like Shalom Yahweh, Shim Yahushai, broke a thumb to the brother, Shalom Alakab, Shim Yahushai to the sisters. This is the ISUPK and the 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, and the Commander General Yohanan. You understand? And this is the Tuesday Brotherhood class out here in Las Vegas, Nevada, right? Let's get the Lord a hand just real quick, right? So today, as the topic says, this is going to be Bell and the Dragon Part 2. It's a continuation from last week's class, right? We're going to read the second half of the class. We went over how Daniel had dealt with the king of Babylon of that time and destroyed their god Baal. Right. And then we left off right when he was going to go. We're about to start reading in on how Daniel dealt with the dragon. Right. So just a quick little recap as to why we're even reading this and putting a pause on the Wisdom of Solomon, back to back books and chapters or select chapters. It's just because of, today we got, the white man, the so-called white man, our oppressor, this country, the United States, or even, the world for that matter, the Christian world, they're practicing, they're keeping Halloween alive, right? And so that's why I personally like going to Bell and the Dragon when it comes down to any of the oppressors' holidays. You understand? Any type of holiday that goes against the Most High, you understand? Of course, what the Most High tells us to keep is high holy days. You understand? Holidays is just a bastardized version, word of high holy day. You understand? So anytime that their holidays come up, that our people actually, actually keep, whether it's in the Muslim tradition, it's in the Christian tradition, what have you. I mean, hell, even atheists keep their birthdays. You understand? All of that. That's why, and mind you as well, just real quick, that's why in the ISUPK, we call everybody Christian because they all do the same thing. They all lead our people to believe the same BS with just, you can say tree branches of a belief system of what the truth is according to the Bible, right? But they all do the same thing where they just disobey the Most High God. It doesn't matter what they say, what the Bible actually says. They all have their own little divvied up versions of it. What have you. It all comes to one exact point. And that's just the fact that they want to disobey the Most High God. That's what Christianity is about. That's what Catholicism is about. That's what Muslim is about. That's what Hinduism is about. That's what, even though it's not necessarily a religion, but it's a philosophy. That's what Confucianism is about, because that is still a thing. You understand? All them African booty scratcher tribalism nonsense that they got going on in the countries of the continent of Africa. You understand? In ISUPK, we're actually educated enough to know that Africa is a continent and not a freaking country, right? But in all of those countries, what did they have? Like somewhere north of like 1,000 different, tribal customs and whatnot. You understand? The point is they're all doing the same exact thing. And that's having their own interpretation of what the actual truth is, for them to say, no, that's BS, because
we believe in this because of X, Y, and Z. You understand? But at the end of the day, that X, Y, and Z gets debunked real doggone quick. The only reason why those gods and goddesses are even kept alive, those false salaki, let me say it like this, those false idols are even kept alive in the first place, is because they're ignorant and uneducated people. You understand? Let's keep in mind that the Bible actually promotes us to get education. The Bible does not tell us to, just blindly believe in the truth. You understand? Just blindly believe in these things. The Bible actually promotes for us. Salagi. Salaki, y'all. The Bible actually promotes for us to get educated. Salaki. Not just in the Bible, but in whatever crafts that you understand that you are in. Don't be an ignorant fool. You understand? The Bible does not tell us to be these blind, dumb zealots. You understand? Like, you're supposed to know how to do agriculture. You're supposed to know how to do math. You're supposed to do, whatever your field of being able to live in this life, you're supposed to know how to do that. Raise cattle, raise lamb, raise whatever, craft whatever, teach whatever your lane is, you're supposed to know what it is, how to be sufficient and actually proficient so that you can pass on that knowledge to the next generation. You understand? But also, it demands that all of us be in basically unison on being studied and understanding the Bible. You understand? Understanding the laws, statutes, and commandments. You understand? So with that being said, right, before we get into the topic, there was something I wanted to read first before we actually get into the second half of Bell and the Dragon, because like I said, today is actually the day of Halloween. So we're going to read a little bit about the history of Halloween, where it came from. I know I talked about it a little bit last week if you watched the first part of the class, but we're going to talk about it a little bit more this week because, right, today is October 31st. You understand? People are actually partaking in it. And for those of y'all that don't actually know, now you can gain the understanding of what you actually did today and what the Most High God, how the Most High God feels about it. And if any of y'all want to go to the first verse now that we're going to start off with before we actually go into Belvin the Dragon, you can go to the book of Amos, chapter 5 and verse 21, right? So, but before we do that, before I get into my article, before we get into the actual topic, I'm just going to ask that everybody does their part to make sure that they like and share the class. Make sure you go onto the YouTube, ISUPK Nevada. Make sure that you like and also subscribe to our channel. You understand? And hit the little bell button. You know what I'm saying? We're doing interviews. You understand? We're doing all, buku classes. You understand? We're trying to get content out there for y'all. And we're also wanting y'all to give us feedback on exactly what y'all want to see. You understand? The types of things that y'all want to hear and see from the people and also from us. You understand? So, of course, make sure that you like and share, or like and subscribe on our YouTube page, ISUPK Nevada. Hit the little bell button so you get all the notifications going forward, right? And at the end of these classes, make sure that, if you got a recommendation, feel free to, push your recommendation of what you want to see, whether it's a class, interview, what have you. Put that in the comments. You understand? Then, of course, go on to our Facebook page, ISUPK Las Vegas. Make sure that you like and follow our Facebook pages, but make sure that you also do your part to make sure that you share these classes, and not just the ISUPK classes, not just my classes, anything that's ISUPK. You understand? It's important that we all put our brick in to make sure that the word of the Lord gets pushed up to the four corners of the earth. You understand? There could just be somebody on your friends list, on your followers, what have you, that is a so-called Negro, Latino, Native American that is looking to change their life over for the better, but they don't know how to do that. And quite frankly, the only place that those said people can actually do so is here in the ISUPK under Commander Johnny Hanna. You understand? So it's important that we all do our part to assist our brothers and sisters into finding their way back home, finding their way to get themselves right according to the Most High God, right? And so while y'all do that, I'm going to go ahead and do that myself because, like we always say, we're not like the Christian church. You understand? We're not going to tell you to do something that we're not going to do. You understand? And especially with that being said, if there's anybody that has any questions online or even in the classroom, make sure that you raise your hand in the classroom or in the online. Feel free, whether it's on topic or off topic, post it in the chat. You understand? I'll be sure to get to your questions to answer it scripture to the best of my ability scripturally. If I'm unable to do it myself, I made sure I actually brought my book bag. So I got my notebook and my pen. So I'm able to write down y'all questions. You understand? So if I'm unable to answer it myself scripturally, I'll write it down, take that question to a man that is mightier than myself to get you the answer. You understand? Because like I just said, we're not like the Christian church. You understand? We're not going to sit here and fill your ears up with sweet nothings of just meaningless words. You understand? That just feel good, sound good, what have you. Just go pray about it. No, we will give you an understanding. We will give you the truth. You understand? We will give you the answer, and the answer being the truth. You understand? So you will get the answer that you seek. May not be exactly what you want to hear, but it's what you need to hear. You understand? You understand what I'm saying? The Christian churches, they don't do that. You understand? They tell you all the things that make you feel good, so you keep coming back, returning, paying your tithes, so that Mr. Pastor can have a new set of alligator boots and leather suits, and you understand all that fugazi nonsense, right? So while we go through all that, y'all doing y'all parts to make sure that y'all like, share, subscribe, and hit the little bell button on the YouTube. I'm going to make sure that I do the same exact thing. Of course, I'm already got the alert and subscribe. Got to keep reminding y'all, right? But I'm going to go ahead and do that myself, and then we'll get this going, right? And like I said, we're going to start at the book of Amos chapter 5 and verse 21, right? That's where we're going to start first. And then from there, we're going to, from there, we'll hit the article, then go to Amos 5 and 21. And then from there, we'll pick up from where we left off last week at the book of Bell and the Dragon, right? And like I said, Bell and the Dragon is easily one of my most favorite. Shalom, little crisis. It's good to see you in the class. Bell and the Dragon is easily like my most favorite book to read from, just because of like the family that I came from, that I grew up with. Like I didn't really know my father's side of the family, typical, right? But I grew up heavy in my mother's side of the family, and they were like really, really big on holidays. And I was always the inquisitive kid, grandchild growing up. I would always ask, like, why we do this? What's the point? And that didn't matter if that was, in a spiritual sense, what we're actually doing. I questioned everything until, eventually I got a little bit too scared. But anyways, you know what I'm saying? And so like, I always knew that these holidays, they didn't make sense, right? Then I finally learned about the truth after I come back from Afghanistan. And, a lot of people, like growing up, a lot of people say, oh, Christmas isn't even in the Bible. Easter's not even in the Bible. All of these holidays, they're not even in the Bible. But then I come back from Afghanistan. I learned about the truth. I learned about Commander General Hana and the truth, ISUPK, right? And then come to find out, well, these fake holidays actually are in the Bible. You understand? The only thing is you're not, of course, your Christian pastor, your Catholic, what do they call priests, bishops, whatever they are. Oh, so let me make sure I do that. Whatever the Catholic leaders of the church is called, I'm really not too hip to Catholicism like that. If anybody is, feel free to post that in the chat so that, all of us can be edified in the class. They would, they would all basically say the same thing, that, that they are us like it. They wouldn't touch on Christmas being in the Bible. The most that they would tell you is like, okay, we celebrate Christmas because that's Christ's birthday. Okay, but where in the Bible is that said? Where in the Bible does it say that December 25th was the day that the kings came together to present gifts to Yahweh Shai Mashiach in the Hebrew, or in English, Jesus Christ? Right? Where is it in the Bible that we were, what it really comes down is where in the Bible does it show and annotate us practicing any type of paganism holidays? And that's the real question that you have to ask, right? Because it does bring those things out, right? And we'll actually read it again. We'll get more straight into the point this week with, like in the book of Jeremiah, chapter 10. We'll get into that after Amos, chapter 5 and verse 21, right? Hold on 1 second. Let me make sure I do my comment as well. For those of y'all that are tuning in as well, make sure that y'all are all checking in. You understand? Make sure that you're posting in your comments. You understand? You don't necessarily have to ask your questions, but make sure that you do throw in a comment, whether it's just a simple shalom, right? Fire emojis, what have you, because at the end of the day, that does help our algorithm. And the points of boosting our algorithm is to, like I said earlier, is to help get the Lord's word out to the four corners of the earth. You understand? Again, it's not just about my class. It's not just about ISUPK Las Vegas class. It's all of ISUPK's classes. You understand? It's important for all of this truth to get to the four corners. You understand? Right. So, Salakia, like I was saying though, these things are actually in the Bible. It's just we don't know to ask the right questions, because at the end of the day, these Christian churches want us to be dumb. Because as long as we're dumb, we're blindly giving them our money, even though we're blindly giving them everything that we have, even though that we have nothing. Because those that are in power in this kingdom that we are currently living in, the so-called white man's kingdom, Esau, according to the Bible, as long as we are in this kingdom, these people are these leaders, Salakia. These leaders are not leaders. You understand? These are people who are, trying to benefit off of the less fortunate. You understand? Like, these aren't people that are trying to do the right thing on, okay, what can I do to get those that already got buku money to want to spend buku money with my company? No, they're trying to keep those that already have nothing from having an opportunity to have something and grow out of their condition, but keep them in the place that they are at, which is underneath their boot. And quite frankly, the wicked thing is even our own people, you understand, our black leaders are participating in just that. You understand? That's why you can look at the Christian pastors and see that they're wicked. You understand? The Catholic, the Catholic priests, they're doggone wicked. I mean, hell, they're and the Christian pastor and the Catholics, not only are they stealing your money, but they're also, they're sleeping with your wives, they're sleeping with your husbands, they're sleeping with your children. You understand? Damn near nobody is safe from these leaders, which lets you know that they're not even leaders in the first doggone place, right? So, you understand? And these things are annotated in the Bible. You just need somebody who is educated in the Bible, who is edified in the Bible, understanding what he is actually reading to have it broken down for you. You understand what I'm saying? So, like I said, first things first, we're gonna go over like the origins of Halloween. Oh damn, hold on. Salakia. Let me get that for you real quick. Okay, so we're gonna read just a quick little paragraph. We're not gonna go like too deep into it because I do want to finish. I do want to go over a couple of verses, just what the Most High God has said about all of these feast days, or it's like not all these feast days, all of these pagan holidays, right? And then, of course, finish up the rest of Bell and the Dragon. Ultimately, class might be a little bit shorter than usual if I could stay on track, but you know what I'm saying. I do want to get through it, right? So then that way next week we can just pick right back up on the book of Wisdom of Solomon. I believe we pick up at chapter 4, right? Okay, so this is what I Googled, right? What was the Druids' role in Halloween? Celtic priests known as Druids, who have led some Samhain celebrations. It would also have been the Druids who ensured that the hearth fire of each house was relit from the glowing embers of the sacred bonfire in order to help protect the people and keep them warm through the forthcoming long and winter months. Right? Oh, Salaki, that was actually the wrong one. I had it. I promise y'all I had it. Salaki, this is my fault. Yeah, that's the wrong one as well. Because that actually tries to go in and argue that Halloween is extremely Christian, which it is, but it was going into a different direction. Okay, this is what I wanted. So it says, yet the Halloween holiday has its roots in the ancient Celtic festival of Samhain. That's how you say it, a Gaelic word pronounced Samhain, a pagan religious celebration to welcome the harvest at the end of summer when people would light bonfires and wear costumes to ward off ghosts. In the 8th century, Pope Gregory III designated November 1st as a time to honor saints. Soon after, All Saints' Day came to incorporate some of the traditions of Samhain. The evening before All Saints' Day was known as All Hallows' Eve, and later Halloween. Here's a look at the origin. Okay, so we're not gonna go into it like that, right? So just give me 1 second. Got to get somebody at the door. So Salakia, put some tunes on for y'all. Just one more again, right? Give me just one moment, and then we'll pick up from where we left off. 1 second, Salakia.
But we a cult leader. Yeah. Well, listen, I'm a cult leader. Yeah. Well, listen, I'm a cult leader. Yeah. They say I'm in the cult. They say a nigga lost, but I done lost it all. Family and all, they didn't get involved. They just want to ball. Some want to stall. Back against the wall, we gon' show them all. I don't wanna be here, land of the slaves. We are not afraid, we are not the same. I done seen death, nigga, looking in his eyes. My higher man told me don't look surprised. Them haters gon' try, but them devils gon' cry. I don't wanna side, nigga, I just wanna ride. I don't wanna hide what I really feel inside. Them devils gonna pay for what they did to mine. Look me in my eyes. I want 7 wives. I want 7 kids. I want them to know that it was on hold. That it was on joke. This is how
All right, Salakia. Okay, where were we? Salakia. Right. Notice how it was Eve and later Halloween. And the 8th century, Greg. Boom. Right. So we'll just read that again from the top because then it'll be an easier flow going into the book of Amos, chapter 5, verse 21. Right. So yet the Halloween holiday has its roots in the ancient Celtic festival of Samhain, a pagan religious celebration to welcome the harvest at the end of summer, when people would light bonfires and wear costumes to ward off ghosts. In the 8th century, Pope Gregory III designated November 1st as a time to honor saints. Soon after, All Saints' Day came to incorporate some of the traditions of Samhain. The evening before All Saints' Day was known as Hallows Eve and later Halloween, right? So this is basically just a brief history on a very brief and vague history on where Halloween actually originated from. I've read that, you know, Halloween, like part of the traditions from the Celtic Druids, and, you know, I had talked about this last class. Part of the traditions from the Celtic Druids was, you know, they would sacrifice, you know, little children and whatnot, and that was part of, you know, the whole customs of like trick or treating, right? And of course, a lot of things get perverted and diluted throughout the history. But you know what I'm saying? Like that actually makes sense considering the fact that this is a pagan holiday. And part of the reason that pagans would even do any type of sacrifice in the first place was to entice and please the false gods that they worshipped, so that they can get through a winter, so that they can have an increase in harvest when they come back, you know, when they're getting ready to come out of the winter going into spring. You understand? There was always some, in their minds, a logical reason to for the sacrifice. But at the end of the day, it just came down to the fact that they're wicked ass bastards that just didn't want to listen to the Most High God. They wanted to do their own things. And mind you, if so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans were to continue to follow after, you know, their ways, that essentially would have gotten at us completely devoured. You understand? We would not exist today as so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, the Israelites that the Bible speaks of. We wouldn't exist today if it hadn't been for the love and grace of the Most High God. You understand? That is one of the biggest things that we all have to understand historically, right? That the fact that you're even here today is because the Most High God wants to give you an opportunity, at least one last opportunity for you to get yourself right. You understand? So now, who can tell me online, in person, because I did just reread it, what is one thing that should really stand out from that article? One thing in particular. And I'll even, while y'all are thinking about it, I'll read it one more time and see if y'all can, you know, y'all can nitpick it. So for those of y'all that are online, you understand, make sure that y'all get engaged. Make sure that y'all get yourselves edified. You understand? Don't be afraid to be wrong. You understand? We're all wrong. Salaki. We're all wrong until we are taught to be right. You understand? So, you know, give me y'all feedback. Pitch in. You understand? Do your part to get it edified so that you can be, you know, so that you can be edified, right? So I'll read it again while I wait for y'all's answers. So it says, yet the Halloween holiday has its roots in the ancient Celtic festival of Samhain, a Gaelic word, a pagan religious celebration to welcome the harvest at the end of summer, when people would light bonfires and wear costumes to ward off ghosts. In the 8th century, Pope Gregory III designated November 1st as a time to honor saints. Soon after, All Saints' Day came to incorporate some of the traditions of Samhain. The evening before All Saints' Day was known as All Hallows Eve and later Halloween. So there's actually two things in particular that I'm looking for, but I want to see what y'all think it is. If you got both of them, then I mean, here, winner. I just got to take you out to chicken dinner. But I want to see if y'all are actually paying attention enough, studying enough to know what the first one is. Not the first one, but at least what one of them is. What do you think it is? What do you think? What should stand out amongst all of it? And there's two things in particular.
Just in general.
Just what from that paragraph that I read stands out. Okay, so when I'm also asking this question, I need y'all to be in the mindset of like, okay, what stands out when we know what we're supposed to believe, when we know what we're supposed to follow. So it's in that context. So of course, we know that we need to be shedding ourselves of the customs of Halloween. So in the midst of us being edified of what Halloween actually, its origins are from in the first place, there should be particular things that stand out that should say, oh, this is why we're not supposed to practice it. This is why. Okay, so you and this sister Shemaya, y'all both said the same. It's a pagan tradition. So okay, you're right. The Samhain is a pagan origin, right? Can y'all give another stab at it to see, like, for that second half? And I'll even read it one more again. Yet the Halloween holiday has its roots in the ancient Celtic festival of Samhain, a pagan religious celebration to welcome the harvest at the end of summer, when people would light bonfires and wear costumes to ward off ghosts. In the 8th century, Pope Gregory III designated November 1 as a time to honor saints. Soon after, All Saints' Day came to incorporate some of the traditions of, Samhain. The evening before All Saints' Day was known as All Hallows' Eve and later Halloween. So what was this? So we understand that the first one, which did not win anybody a chicken dinner, it's having both of them is what wins you a chicken dinner, right? What would be the second point that stands out?
It has something to do with the saints.
Has something to do with the saints. Let's give it, that's not it. So no. If you want to keep stabbing at it, let's see if anybody else online, because there's quite a few people online, and y'all gotta be a little more, what's the word? A little bit more engaging with these classes. You understand? It's one thing, like, of course, we could do just a PowerPoint lecture, but like when I was in East House military, a PowerPoint lecture where just one person just sat there and talked and just flip pages. PowerPoint we call that death by PowerPoint. You understand? I want these classes to be engaging for all of us to be able to actually learn. You understand? For y'all to ask questions, don't be afraid to be wrong. You understand? Because like I just said, you got it. You're going to be wrong 1,000 times. It only takes that one time for you to be wrong right for the rest of your lives. You understand? You're going to keep on being wrong until you learn how to be right. You understand what I'm saying? And quite frankly, at that point, it's your choice to be right or wrong. So, just something to think about. Sister said, Catholic origin. No, it is not a Catholic origin. And I'm not rereading it again. I already read it, 4 times now, I think. I'll allow the both of y'all one more guess, and then if anybody has pitches in as well.
Does it have to do with the costume dressing?
The costume dressing? No, because that's part of the pagan tradition that the both of y'all had mentioned. That's in one. That's one. Come on, y'all. So give her one more stab at it, because I know she's going to try and answer. Come on, Shemaiah. One more stab at it. Let me see if you got it. I'm gonna give her a few more moments. I'll give her 30 seconds from now. And then I'm gonna give y'all the answer. We're gonna move on. Okay, no sweat. And this should be the biggest thing that stands out, especially with, going from last week coming into this week, because of, for those of y'all that did tune in last week, let me see if you actually remember. What was one of the biggest points that we learned from Bel, from just Bel, Daniel dealing with Bel? Okay, it's a false idol. What else? There's something like in particular where before they even went through the, man, if I tell you this, it's going to give you the answer. What else?
I'm trying to like relate it.
No sweat. I mean, you just got to remember, like I said before, when dealing with these questions, when you're even when you're alone and in doubt about like, oh, should I go to this party? Should I go do this? There's, I call it the life rail. Like, because my fat ass, I'm so damn broken from the military, and then now I'm overweight. That rail, walking up and down the stairs, that's my life rail, so that I can get to point A to point B, and sometimes back to point A, because I'm up and down the stairs. But that's my life rail. So think of walking through life is going to be walking up and down stairs. To make sure that you stay correct, you should hold on to your life rail. What's your life rail? It's the Bible. It's the scriptures. It's the wisdom of the Bible in specific. You understand? So when we have the wisdom of the Bible, we understand what about Halloween. And anybody can answer this as well. Like, don't think that I'm, just because I'm speaking to somebody in the classroom, that nobody online can pitch in. In fact, I encourage y'all to, right? So what's that life rail say about Halloween?
The answer I'm thinking of just kind of goes back to the first one, that it's something related to veganism. It's not.
Okay, so,
So I'm like,
just keep it simple. Just listen to what I say. Just listen to what I say. The Bible's wisdom tells us what about Halloween?
nothing. It's not in there. It's like,
No, that we shouldn't do it.
Okay, but that's the. I don't know. I guess
We shouldn't. We shouldn't do it. And now we're gonna pull the scripture on it. All right, because there's a little bit of confusion. No sweat. No sweat. Right. So this is where I was saying that we're gonna start off at the book of Amos, chapter 5 and verse. We should not partake, lead to destruction. No, that's exactly right. That's where I wanted to go with it. So Most High in Christ, Shema, good job. Right. Get this sister hand. Right. So this is the book of Amos, chapter 5, verse 21. I despise your feast days, and I will not smell in your solemn assemblies. So, explain to me what I just read. Somebody's explained to me what I just read, but I do want you to go first because you are here in person. So, yeah, of course, I'm going to pick on you.
Basically, that he doesn't approve of our of the other like holidays that aren't biblical.
You're right. No, you're right. You're right. He doesn't like in fact it says he hates the holidays that are not biblical. But what is biblical though?
Whatever is in the Bible.
Okay, well I can pull Christmas for you in the Bible. And technically this verse that I just pulled encompasses any and all holidays, whether it's biblical or not. But there's something in specific that divides that divides holidays from high holy days. And that's what I want you to understand. And what is that? So the sister said, holidays are not high holy days. Oh, so let me put it on the screen. Holidays are not high holy days that were commanded by the most high for us to follow. That's pretty much that's where I was pointing to. That's where we were leading to. So in other words, what is Halloween? And this is going to go, now we're walking it back to the article, what should have stood out to you guys in that article in specific. Now, I'm not waiting for you guys to tell me what it is now that stands out. I'm just saying this is now walking it back, right? So when it says in the 8th century, Pope Gregory designated November 1st as a time to honor saints. Now, the both of you guys were right when y'all said, okay, pagan traditions, pagan origins, right? It comes from, it's pagan. Y'all both right. Because that's the Samhain portion of it, how you say it in Gaelic, right? That's what it says, right? The Gaelic word pronounced Samhain, right? That's what it was not commanded by the Most High. It was someone else. Hold on, Shemai. Let me address that in a second. So this was their tradition. This was their custom, right? That was the pagan tradition. Now we're dealing with the first part right now, and we're going to read Amos 5:21 again. I despise your feast days, and I will not smell in your solemn assemblies. So, in other words, what is the Most High God saying right here? The days that you appoint to be higher than the next, the day that you put, what does it say? Paraphrasing it, what does the scripture says? Who are you to appoint a day to be higher than another? In fact, let me pull that real quick, right? Actually, no. Google that for me, and then tell me what the verse is. It should be put in. Who are you to put a day higher than another? KJV, and then tell me what the book, chapter, and verse is, right? So that I can move on. Where were we at? This was a custom that the pagans created. We all understand that the Most High God does not have a pagan tradition. Because what's one thing that makes somebody pagan is human sacrifice. All right. In that little article that I did read, that was a .gov. So that means Romans 14:5 and 6. Let's see, let me get there. See, the sister on it. She over here trying to 14.5 and said, let me see though. Okay, no, yeah. I believe there's another one. I believe. I could be wrong, but most definitely good with that one, right? So we're gonna get on that, right? Salakia, I did lose my train of thought. Damn, reading that, I lost my train of thought. You remember the last thing I said?
No, I was trying not to interrupt you.
Oh, why? Did you have something you wanted to say? Do you have someone you wanted to ask? Oh, no sweat. All right. So we're going to read the book of Romans chapter 14, verse 5, because I did lose my train of thought. Lord allow, thought comes back. Right. This is the book of Romans chapter 14, verse 5. One man esteemeth one day above another. Another esteemeth every day alike. Let every man be fully persuaded in his own mind. You understand? This is literally going over Halloween. Oh, now I remember what it was. This is going over Halloween, so going over Christmas, Thanksgiving, 4th of July, your birthday, what is it? Easter, Janus. What is that one? Janus. Huh? New Year's. You understand? Did I say Valentine's Day? Did I say your birthday? Well, I said them all now. I believe that's all of the American traditions, right? Point is this verse is speaking about them in particular, where a man said New Year's Day is important. But the question is what did the Most High God say about a New Year's? Where in the Bible can you read, and when the new year comes, you're supposed to have black eyed peas and, the first person that walks through the door has got to be a man. What other traditions do we have? I know the black eyed peas one. What is the money one? What's the money one for the tribe of Judah? I know it was black eyed peas. Black eyed peas was for luck. What was the money? Was it collard greens? We honestly didn't keep that in my house because my mother ran the house when I was growing up, and my father didn't care for the holidays once they divorced. But I do know the black eyed peas, if I remember correctly, was for good luck, and then I think it was collard greens for dollars, if I remember correctly. Whatever. Shemaiah, tell us what some of the so-called Mexican, the Iscarite traditions are for New Year's, right? Actually, I need to get off of this so I can read goddamn Bell and the Dragon. But Shemaiah, tell me some of the traditions that so-called Mexicans have for New Year's in the world. But you understand, one man esteemeth one day above another, and another esteemeth every day alike, because this is man creating a holiday. This is not the Most High God telling us, okay, this day needs to be above all else. When did of all people that actually walked the earth, when did Yahweh celebrate his birthday? Which is the funny thing that we brought out earlier today, earlier in the class, was Christians and Catholics try to say that Halloween was Christ's birthday. But when did Christ celebrate his own birthday? Better yet, after Christ was murdered, innocently murdered, may I add, when did Peter, Paul, when did the apostles celebrate his birthday? So it sounds like somebody's just trying to justify their wickedness for wanting to celebrate their own birthday, doesn't it? Right? In fact, that's actually a compromise that is being created between, hey, I want you to worship my God so that I don't have to kill you and all of your people, because it would be more beneficial for me and my nation. In fact, our nation. If you succumb to my God, and if part of your religion, part of what you believe in is to keep your birthday, you know what? That's something that we can all see ourselves doing. So all of y'all, just succumb to my God. And all of you that don't succumb, all of y'all that don't bow down to, Caesar Borgia, that homosexual, that white homosexual that they love to put on a cross, that didn't die on a cross. For those of y'all that don't bow down to him and worship him, then we'll kill the rest of you guys. But everybody that does bow down, we're all good. That was literally the tactic of the Crusaders at that time, right? She said, you got to clean your house before. I think it's for luck. She's not 100% sure. And I believe you wear certain colored underwear for certain things. The only thing I heard about women wearing underwear was black, and that just meant y'all was dirty. And you just couldn't see the filth. No. Like, y'all was trying to get some rod. That was the only thing I ever heard about, like the color of y'all's underwear that actually meant something, like growing up. But I mean, that's y'all tradition. Like, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? That's why I was asking the sister, let us know, put us on yellow for money and red for love. So if you pick one yellow for the year, you'll get money. You're supposed to get money. But if you wear red underwear, you're supposed to find love. Is that what you're saying? And give her a second. And then we're actually going to drop that as well. Because like I said, I do want to finish up this, the rest of it. Okay. So yeah, that's, you have to pick one or the other. So yeah, that's what it is. That's wild. That's wild. And you know what? You can't tell me that Latinos came up with that nonsense. Because let's be real. All of the customs that we keep now, or even historically, it all originates back to somewhere in Babylon or a different captivity. And the reason why I'm saying that is because, the Northern Kingdom was brought over into, North and South America and had an opportunity of quote unquote independence for them to, serve the most, to do these things themselves, serve the Most High God themselves. And then ended up going back to these paganistic ways. Very similar. Actually, no, this is supposed to be an engaging class. We're all supposed to partake in this class. What is a similar instance to, so the Northern Kingdom, the 10 tribes of the Northern Kingdom, when they were brought over to North and South America originally, and no man had ever been on this side, the Western Hemisphere, right? What similar story that we have read in the Bible compares to the fact that they get here, oh, we're on our own, we're doing our own thing. Let's go back to this pagan bullshit. What's a very similar story to that? Sister said, oh, no, go ahead. No, go ahead.
Is that the one where like Moses was up in the mountains and then like everybody was down?
Mount Sinai.
Carving out the
exactly where they raised up the golden calf when they came out of the book of Exodus. They came out of Egypt and they raised up that golden calf. Exactly. So break in love or rich and lonely? Oh, so broken love, man. Salaki. I couldn't really say. I should just done it like this, huh? So broken love or rich. That's actually kind of funny. So wait, you can't have both. You can't. So okay, I gotta ask one more, right? So if you hold on, which one did you say? So if you wear red draws and you already have money, do you give up the money so that you can find love? And then also vice versa, if you wear yellow, that you're giving up your love for money? Is like, does it work like that as well, or am I kind of just like doing too much? Because I'm like genuinely asking. I don't know, right? Did you raise your hand? Okay, no sweat. And then while she's answering that, I'm actually getting us to where we need to be. And that's doing the most. All right, no sweat. No, she said, no one of that stuff is true. That is why it's stupid. Of course, I know that that's not true. The point is I'm trying to ask according to the tradition and the beliefs. Is that like, do they believe that you're giving up one for the other? That's the point. But I understand. Okay. So let's actually get into it. Salakia. Been watching a lot of Officer Shabal's classes. So that was the first hour. Last hour, we're going to finish up the Book of Bel and the Dragon, right? Big shout out to Officer Shabal that teaches excellent classes. Hold on. Slew them, right? Right. Nope. Too far. Can you say this now? Nope. Therefore, they keep slewing them and delivered Bel into power and destroyed him. Okay, here we are. So now we're picking up at the Book of Bel and the Dragon, chapter 1, verse 23. All right. So, like I said, so last week, we read Bel and the Dragon, chapter 1, verses 1 through 22. And we saw how, quick cliff notes, the king of Babylon had, he sees Daniel, one of the Most High God's servants. He trusts him more than his own advisors. He puts Daniel, an Israelite, someone who doesn't worship his gods, his word over all of his advisors and his priests, which he also had shown that, during the dealings of when the king of Babylon was asking, like, why don't you serve Bel? What are you doing? What's wrong? What's the issue? And Daniel let him know, like, I'm not permitted to serve anybody but except for the creator of flesh, earth, and the heavens. You understand? The one and only Most High God. Like, that's the only God I'm permitted to worship. And in fact, who are you worshiping is clay in the inside, and on the outside, I believe it was brass, right? And of course, the king was a little bit upset about that. He's like, okay, well, I'm about to call. He calls up his priests, lets them know what Daniel just said, and the priests are like, man, like, no, surely Bel is real. Like, how else do you expect all the the 12 large what did it say? 12 large measures of fine flour, the 40 lamb, and the 12, was it 40 lamb, and I think it was 6 vessels of wine. This feast that is brought on a daily basis. You understand? Just like what the sister had brought out in Romans 14:5. One man does a daily thing and another does an everyday thing. Some people do Christmas. Some people sacrifice to these fake idols every single day. You understand? But those priests were like, you say we do these sacrifices every day, and the food and the drink, all of it is gone every day. What do you mean? Like, who are you really questioning? Then it got to the point where the king even told him, like, okay, you know what? This is what we're going to do. We're going to get to the bottom of this. We're going to find out, is Daniel, no, in fact, he started off with, are y'all lying to me? And he's pissed with the priests, mind you. Are y'all lying to me? And if y'all are, I'm going to kill you. I'm going to kill each and every single one of you. And there's 70 of them, right? Then he said, then he follows up and says, but if you guys are right, and Daniel is committing blasphemy against our God, then we'll kill Daniel. You understand? That really in itself, in a nutshell, lets you know that as long as you are serving the Most High God will set you up so that you are first and even your own enemies' hearts. You understand? Where these priests were his people. These priests were about the same exact God that the king of Babylon was about. But yet, who did he put in a how do you say, in a higher regard over his own people, over his own religious belief? Was Daniel. You understand? That is part of the power that the Most High God has and sets up for his people in the time of our calamity and the time of our oppression. You understand? When we are not even on top at the moment. You understand? When we are working to prove to the Most High God as an entire nation that we deserve to be on top, for those individuals that are doing what they're supposed to be doing, the Most High God will give you what the Most High God will see you through safe passage. Make those that are against you before you. So life is, it's still difficult. It's still hard. Because just like what, Ecclesiastes 7:7, reads, paraphrasing, but, oppression maketh a wise man mad. So, of course, you're still angry because even though that things are a little bit easier for you, you're a wise man, and a wise man concerns himself with his people. You understand? Concerns himself with the conditions of his entire nation, not just himself. You understand? Because mind you as well, a wise man isn't going to get drunk in his own power. Then you get drunk in your own power, then you get drunk in anything, you're not very wise. You see how that works? Right? So, of course, fast forward, Salakia. I know I'm getting a little long-winded, going to the left and to the right so that we can move forward. But so Daniel ends up proving to the king of Babylon through wisdom, shows that, you understand, it was actually the priests, the 70 priests and their wives and their children were consuming that entire feast. It wasn't that statue made out of brass on the outside and clay on the inside. It was these people of flesh and bone, flesh on the outside and bone in the inside. They were consuming this on a nightly basis. So what did the king do? Killed them all, killed all 70 priests, killed their children, killed the wives, killed them all. You understand? So now where we're at is we're about to see how Daniel also deals with the dragon. You understand? So this is the book of Bel and the Dragon, chapter 1 and verse 23. Salakia. Verse 23. And in that same place, there was a great dragon, which they of Babylon worshiped. So there was actually two deities that they were worshiping in Babylon. It was Bel and the dragon, hence. Right, we're all smart. Right, verse 24. And the king said unto Daniel, wilt thou also say that this is of black? Wilt thou also say that this is of brass? Lo, he liveth, he eateth and drinketh. Thou canst say that he is no living God. Therefore, worship him. Very straightforward, very simple. The king is saying there's no way that you can tell me that this dragon is not a living dragon. In fact, the dragon is a living dragon. Therefore, you should worship him. Very simple. Verse 25. Then said Daniel unto the king, I will worship the Lord my God, for he is the living God. You understand? This is the mindset that we have to have no matter what. Everybody in Christianity and Catholicism will say that, oh, I love God, I love Jesus, with snakes in their hand and the whole 9 yards, right? Trying to profess they love to the Most High God, just nothing but with nothing but their tongue, right? But yet, what do those same Christians and Catholics just do today? They put on these costumes and masks, which was a tradition by a pagan tradition. So in reality, what are they? They're pagans. How do you judge a pagan? How do you judge somebody's faith? By what they say or what they do? Okay, but why?
Their actions reflect.
No, I mean, yeah, exactly. Your actions reflect. Your actions are louder than your words. It's the same thing like what the Most High had told us, and First John, I believe was it 5:3 or 3:4? I always get the two mixed up. I swear. It's like I don't swear, but I always get the two mixed up. I believe it's First John 5:3 where the Most High says, where it says that for this is the love of God that we keep His commandments, and His commandments are not grievous, right? So if you showing that your love is keeping His commandments, and this is the kicker, they say, Christians and Catholics, oh yeah, the 10 Commandments, right? 10 Commandments, even though there's way more than 10 Commandments. But let's just stay focused on 10 Commandments for their sake. What's the first of the 10 Commandments? Do you know? No sweat. Thou shalt not have any other God before me. So in other words, you're not allowed to serve another God. But yet, if you do Halloween, what does that mean? You're serving another God. So do Christians and Catholics actually love God? No, you mean like what?
I mean, by their actions, no. But I mean, if they don't, if they're not aware, then do it.
Okay, so we're gonna put this on pause, and I'm gonna entertain what you just said, right? So, if somebody told you that they loved you, but you just met yesterday, they said that they loved you, right? And then you just on some like, okay, you know what? I'll entertain it. I'm not gonna, I am a little bit weirded out, but I'll entertain it. How are you going to entertain it? What is most likely the first thing that you're going to say?
I mean, I wouldn't say it back.
Okay. I didn't ask you what you wouldn't say. No, I said, what would you say? All right. Fair. Okay. If you had any type of, if you had wisdom, you would say, okay, but why do you love me? How do you know you love me? How can you show me that you love me? What do you love about me? So in other words, you're asking questions that is requiring action. It requires action, and part of what do you get out of action from somebody else when we're talking about love? What do you get out of that?
Like the things that they do.
Yeah, so somebody does something. What do you get out of that when it comes to love? So I commit an act of love, right? Whether we've known each other for 30 years or 5 minutes, whether it's been consistent for the entire 5 minutes, I just every minute I do an act of love, and you're like, oh, okay, I know, or I've been doing an act of love every minute for 30 years. What do you get out of that? Proof. Okay. So you can say proof. I'll take that. But what else? But there's something more in specific.
I feel like your actions will prove what you say. Like they don't actually.
Okay, but you're saying the same thing.
Yes, I don't know like another word for it. Like,
okay. What you're getting out of it is you're getting proof, you're getting knowledge of who I am, what I'm about, how I do things. But you're actually getting to know me. Throughout all that time, you're getting to know me. So if we remove all of my actions and it's just nothing but wordplay, what are you getting? Are you actually getting to know that person? You're just go ahead. You're just getting words. It's empty words, right? So now let's go back to that question. Do Christians and Catholics actually love the Most High?
I guess not.
Okay, you say you guess not.
I know that's the answer.
No, right. But I'm trying to clarify even your end, because you're saying I guess not, because your answering is like, okay, I know this is what the answer is, but I kind of see it a different way. So let's commune on that.
Both ways, like on a technical standpoint. Yeah, like no, you're not doing it right, so it doesn't count. But then it's like if they don't know that they're not doing it right, then their reality of love is real. Like, does that make sense?
So, no, I understand what you're saying. And to answer your question, no, that does not make sense. Because I'm going to say this. So, a woman who stays in a relationship in the midst of her being beaten, does she love that man?
Sometimes they still do. Like,
okay. A lot of times, at least with a lot of the videos that I've seen, they say, no, this is how he shows that he loves me. That's what she believes, right? But would you say that he actually does love her?
From my standpoint, no. But...
So then who? Okay, so from her standpoint, it's okay. You're right. So if said woman ever came across your way, fat ass, black eye, busted up ass nose, busted lip, oh, what happened to you, sis? Oh, my husband, I got out of line and talked back to him and didn't do the dishes, didn't do whatever the hell, and so he disciplined me. You're trying to tell me that the way that you would respond was that how he shows love? Yeah. Well, I guess you shouldn't fuck up.
No, I'm not saying.
So what are you saying? Because see, look. The Most High is not the author of confusion. The Most High is not. Everything is actually straightforward. It's actually easy to understand once you have the knowledge and the wisdom. You do your part to gain the knowledge and the wisdom that that He'll give you. Then from there, again, it's the life rail. You just hold on to the rail.
Right, but like you said, they gain the knowledge and the wisdom. So for those that don't have it, like
okay, so. But now we're still going. Let's stay at the root. She doesn't understand that this is just hatred being taken out on her. She's just a punching bag. She's just a doggone. I don't even know what to say, because mind you, a lot of times they're not having sex. They'll have sex time to time, but majority of the time, he's just beating the dog piss out of her. So that's love. Even though that's how she perceives it.
No, I'm saying like.
But she perceives it though from what you said. Her standpoint, she said, "This is love. Is me getting my ass beat. If your man ain't beating you, your man don't love you." That's what she's gonna say. That's what some of these sisters actually believe, mind you.
And that's their like I'm not saying that it's right. I'm just saying like people who may perceive.
Okay, so now let me ask you this. So are we playing into realities?
No.
Individuals' realities?
No, I just no.
Is that what you do? Is play into individuals' realities? Is that what you're saying?
No, it's empathy. I can understand why someone may think that this is love. If you don't know better, how could you, decipher the two?
And I understand where you're coming from, but are you seeing how wrong that is to actually play along with that though?
I'm not
From any standpoint. Because it's like this. At the end of the day, you still have to put yourself the best position to put yourself into with something like that is you have to be the friend to help somebody.
right.
In a terrible situation like that where they believe, and as you said, their reality is this is how I get love. This is how I know it's love.
Yeah, I'm not taking the position of playing along. I'm just recognizing where someone may. For instance, if my Nana says, "Hey, I love God," I don't think that she doesn't know that that she doesn't love God. It's just she's not doing it right. It's like
if I heard your Nana say that, if I heard your Nana say, "I love God," in a respectful way, I would ask her, how? How do you love God?
yeah.
Because again, what does the scripture say? And in reality, we as human beings, which are infinitively lesser than the Most High, we understand what love is amongst ourselves. Sure, some people play into the reality, go into different realities to make excuses, like we kind of just went back and forth with. But bottom line, the majority understands what love is and what is love. Well, I said, what is love? Anything that begins with what?
I didn't know if you were like.
What is love?
Your actions.
Don't give me the answer that you think I want to hear. You tell me what love is. It's okay. So if it's your actions, so then if somebody says, "I love something" or someone, like, you get what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so for example,
Okay.
if I say I love God before I came here, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you start to ask me questions,
Mm-hmm.
and then I start to realize, hey, there's something wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But because I love God or I want to love God properly, I make the shift. But do you see what I mean? It doesn't mean
that's something different. Now when you say it, see, that's different. Because we're gonna go ahead.
No, I hadn't done anything for
Right.
action wise, but like the zeal was there. So like
right.
That's what I mean. Like,
and I understand that. But I was just hoping that I just want you to understand that there needs to be, because like what you just said, you're saying, okay, I love God, woo, and then I'm like, hold on. Do you love God? How you love God? Start, running you through that questionnaire, and then you get to that point where you're like, okay, maybe I don't love God because this is how He recognizes whether or not I love Him or not. So I need to make that change. That's what you said, correct? I mean, I added a little bit more, but just to add some more detail to what you said, that's what you was getting at, right? right? Okay, so doesn't that pertain to any situation then?
The difference is the door is opened up for me to like new knowledge or to look at something differently. Like if the majority knew what love was, would the Christian churches be so full? Like, do you know what I mean? Like,
Okay, I do get what you're saying. I do get where you're coming from, but again, like I had just said, the Most High is not the author of confusion. So if your standpoint was accurate, then the Most High would say, if ye love me, you would keep my commandments, for they are not grievous, verse 4, or maybe even in the same verse. But if you didn't know how to love me correctly, then, you get a pass. That would be annotated somewhere, but it's not. In fact, in the scripture, what it does say is for, although that my people do, in paraphrasing, but although that my people have, a zeal for me, they're destroyed for the lack of knowledge. So that's literally your Christians that say, or, I know you wasn't saying necessarily your Nana does say this, or he's even a Christian, what have you. She is, she's not. Just understand it's not an attack to your Nana is the point. But, someone in that situation that says, I love God, but is not following the law, statutes, and commandments, what are they?
I guess if they're doing the opposite, they would be still considered the pagans, right?
No, I'm answering from what I just said. Here, actually, I'll pull the verse for you real quick. That way it can be a little bit more. So this is the book of Hosea, chapter 4, verse 6. My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. Because thou hast rejected knowledge, I will also reject thee, that thou shalt be no priest to me, seeing thou hast forgotten the law of thy God, I will also forget thy children. So what does that say about someone like your Nana saying, okay, well, I love God, but doesn't follow the law, statutes, and commandments? They're forgotten. They're forgotten. Not only that, but they are destroyed because they don't know God. Because again, and in fact, we're going to actually get to it so I can stop saying it's one or the other. I believe it's 5 and 3. That's 50-50, but hey, I got the good 50. So this is the book of 1 John chapter 5, verse 3. For this is the love of God, that we keep his commandments, and his commandments are not grievous. You understand? So if somebody is keeping the law, statutes, and commandments, are they destroyed for the lack of knowledge? They're following the law, statutes, and commandments. And that in itself, they love the Most High God. So if you're doing anything outside of that, you're destroyed for your lack of knowledge. In fact, like, I don't want to get too far into this because, like I said, I do want to finish this. But you do know that the Most High God had even said that he doesn't hear sinners' prayers. So how does that fall in line with the fact that they're ignorantly, somebody is ignorantly saying, oh, I love the Most High God, not following the law, statutes, commandments, but I know I love God because I pray to him, and I pray to him every night, and I go to church every Sunday. Like, you see how it's kind of, okay, so, but are you doing what he said is to prove your love to him? Or are you doing it your way because you want to do the things that you want to do, i.e. doing things like Halloween, Christmas, Thanksgiving, 4th of July, et cetera, et cetera. Because ultimately, all of this does still get bundled up all together. It really does. It's same umbrella. Because, I mean, if we love the Most High God, we're not going to serve other gods. We're not going to keep the customs of the heathens. We're not going, you understand? So, like, you get what I'm saying? Now, do you understand why it's also wrong for you to put one foot on one side of the fence and have a foot on the other side of the fence?
My position's not like on both sides. Like I'm not agreeing with, you know, why someone is that way. I can just understand why they would feel it, you know? That's all. It was just like empathy, like I can understand.
Okay.
Because
all right.
You know.
All right. No sweat. No sweat. All right. So we'll move on then. And I know you said that, but all right, no sweat. I believe we were on 26. No, we were on 20. So we'll start over 24. And the king said unto Daniel, wilt thou also say that this is of brass? Lo, he liveth, he eateth and drinketh. Thou canst not say that he is no living God. Therefore worship him. Verse 25. Then said Daniel unto the king, I will worship the Lord my God, for he is the living God. Daniel's not compromising. It doesn't matter what everybody else is doing. Doesn't matter what is going on in the masses. Daniel knows what he's supposed to be doing, and that is the same exact spirit that all blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans need to have as well. We need to have that same exact spirit. You understand? Where we don't give a damn what you're doing on the outside. In fact, you understand, we're here in this classroom right now. For those of y'all that are tuning into class as well, you know, you're either at your slavery, got this class on your headphones, you're sitting in your car while you're driving. You understand? You're at home listening to the class. You're actually here in the class. You understand? Instead of being out there where everybody is walking up and down the streets, putting themselves in harm's way. You understand? Where, you know, crying out loud. Earlier at the beginning of class, there was a big ass firework that set off. It's doggone, you know, it's October 31st. We're about to go into November. What are we doing? Fireworks for? And in reality, fireworks are buku dangerous, especially out here in Las Vegas. There's a reason why airborne fireworks are illegal, is because it's so dry out here. You understand? All that dry, you know, if one of them sparks land into somebody's house, you know, onto the rooftop, onto one of these doggone, you know, these dry ass trees, you just started up a fire. That's why it's illegal out here. You understand? But of course, they caught up in their wickedness. They want to do what they want to do. You understand? But for those of y'all that are here in the class, in whatever mode and whatever make, you know, first and foremost, give yourselves a hand. You understand? Give yourselves a hand. You understand? Because you're choosing the Most High God and his ways over the ways of the heathen, the ways of the world. You understand? You're choosing this. You're choosing life over death. You understand? Because mind you, I mean, hell, this past weekend in Chicago, how many people were shot and dead at a doggone Halloween party? I think there was. Don't hold me to. I know. I believe it was 3 was confirmed dead, and I think like 7 injured in total. You know, give or take. And this happens almost every year at all of these holidays. You might say, "Oh, that's a really low number." You want to roll the dice? You gonna keep on rolling the dice? You understand? You don't value your life that much. Lord be with you then. Right? But Daniel said, you know what? I'm not worried about what everybody else is doing. I'm going to do what I know, what the Most High God told me to do, because I know this is the only one to know. This is the one and only living God. Right? Verse 26, but give me leave, O king, and I shall slay this dragon without sword or staff. The king said, I give thee leave. Very straightforward. Verse 27. Then Daniel took pitch and fat and hair and did seethe them together and made lumps thereof. This he put in the dragon's mouth, And so the dragon burst in sunder. And Daniel said, lo, these are the gods ye worship. So what Daniel did right here, he took pitch, which is like pitch is like this kind of sticky tar, right? And fat and hair. So like the pitch is like a sticky tar that you make out of like grounded up bones and fat. And then he took even more fat to, you know, help be a how do you say, it basically helps the I don't know how to say it. Like it makes sense in my head. How do you say it? It helps things to stick together, like combine together for the chemical reaction, basically, right? And then hair, which the hair helps it burn. Okay. And so and seethe it together. So he put these things all together and made lumps thereof. So he made, you know, more than one, right? This he put in the dragon's mouth, and so the dragon burst in sunder. So then he put all these lumps inside the dragon's mouth, and then it made the dragon break apart. You understand? He just destroyed this statue of a dragon that the Babylonians were worshiping, giving tribute to. You understand? Looked up as a god. And he just put ground up animal bones, animal fat, some more fat, and some hair. Put it together into lumps and put it inside its mouth and blew it up. Basically, he made little bombs. You understand? And destroyed it, right? And so the dragon burst in sunder, and Daniel said, lo, these are the gods ye worship. He said, man, look, these are the gods that you worship. You worship some god named doggone Baal that, you know, we came to realize is just a statue, and you just have your stupid priests eating all the food that y'all come and, give tribute to every night. Y'all wasting your resources. Then now we got this stupid statue Baal that, man, I just destroyed it in front of all of y'all. This is what y'all worship. This is it. This is what your country, your nation is ran by, right? Verse 28. When they of Babylon heard that, they took great indignation and conspired against the king, saying, the king has become a Jew, and he hath destroyed Baal. He has slain the dragon and put the priests to death. See, now the people of Babylon are getting upset. They say, you know what? You a Jew now. You acting just like Daniel the Jew. You understand? You're acting like his people, these Israelites. You understand? Verse 29. So they came to the king and said, deliver us, Daniel, or else we will destroy thee in thine house. Verse 30. Now, when the king saw that they pressed him sore, being constrained, he delivered Daniel unto them. So now the king was getting pressed, and he was like, man, there's nothing I can do. Like to save my own tail, so like it. To save my own tail, it's like it, Daniel. I gotta give you up, dude. You understand? In other words, the king had no integrity. And this is how you know that first and foremost, he is of the other nations. You understand that he is not, these other nations can never be an Israelite. They can never be one of us who actually get the promise, who can actually follow the law, statutes, and commandments. What is the word that I'm looking for that this king lacks? That's a good word, but that's not it. In fact, I would argue heavily that this word that I'm actually looking for goes very much so hand in hand with brotherhood. If there's anybody online, I'm not going to give y'all too much time because we got like 12 more verses. All right, no sweat. He has no integrity. He saw both of his gods get destroyed. He was shown that they were just false idols. And what did he do? He fell to the will of the people, to the masses. What is somebody with integrity? What would they do? They die. They die by their integrity. They would die by, even as you said, their brotherhood. You understand? Like what you can read in, I love this story as well. It's a great story. Was it in? No, it's not Tobit. It's in. What book is that in? Doggone it. Is it Judith? No. Oh, it's the story of the sister and her 7 sons, and all of them were brutally, innocently murdered because they wouldn't partake in the unclean feast. And so the king of that time was making an example out of them. And so this sister had to watch all 7 of her sons gloriously, all of them gloriously, be innocently murdered for the fact that they refused to give up their integrity to please man. You understand? They refused because they would rather please the Most High God over man. These other nations will not do that. You understand? These heathens will not do that. They do not have the ability to keep their integrity to maintain brotherhood, as the sister said, because that was, that was a great word, but also keep their integrity with the Lord. You understand? Keep that integrity, like, to be shown everything that you believe in is BS, but then still choose those that want to believe in the BS and take their side. That's wild. You understand? You have no integrity. You understand? Verse 31. Wait, right? Yeah. Verse 31. Who cast him into the lion's den where he was 6 days. So the king threw him into the lion's den for 6 days, right? Verse 32. And in the den, there were 7 lions, and they had given them every day 2 carcasses and 2 sheep, which then were not given to them to the intent that they might devour Daniel. So in other words, these lions were generally well fed. Shut it all the way. Were generally well fed, right? 2 carcasses and 2 sheep. But since Daniel was thrown in there, they started starving these lions so that the lions would go and eat Daniel, right? Now, verse 33. Now, there was in Jewry a prophet called Habakkuk, who made pottage and had broken bread in a bowl and was going into the field for to bring it to the reapers. But the angel of the Lord said unto Habakkuk, go, carry the dinner that thou hast into Babylon unto Daniel, who is in the lion's den. And Habakkuk said, Lord, I never saw Babylon, neither do I know where the den is. Then the angel of the Lord took him by the crown and buried him by the hair of his head, and through the vehemency of his spirit set him in Babylon over the den. So in other words, Habakkuk tried to tell this angel and say, man, I don't even know where Babylon is. I've never been there. I don't even know how to get there. Like, what do you expect me to do? And this angel grabbed him by the crown of his head, just like so, and then pretty much teleported his ass to where he needed to be. You understand? And mind you, over exactly where he needed to be for Daniel to be able to eat. You understand? This is another example that the Most High God will provide for you. You understand? No matter, as long as you keep and maintain your integrity, you will be provided for. And what's very interesting about said thing is, what's crazy? What happens when you don't partake in Halloween? What comes with Halloween? You gotta go buy buku candy. and all these decorations, right? Set them up in front of you for some strangers, and then also get a costume for your child when your child don't even deserve a single piece of candy, but you're gonna let him get goddamn, pillowcases full of candy, right? So you're gonna do that. Then the following month has some big ass feast to celebrate the death and destruction of our our so-called Native American brothers and sisters, biblically the Gadites and Reubenites of the Bible, right? The genocide of those people on Thanksgiving, just so that you can fight with mommy, pappy, and goddamn your brothers and sisters, your aunts and uncles. To have it's supposed to be a family feast, but in reality, it ends up being a family fight, right? Then the next month, you got to do Christmas for some ungrateful ass kids, and let us not forget, this is for an imaginary fat white man. Is who's giving your kids these gifts. It's not from you. When you busting your ass to make ends meet every single month, right? And still give these stupid holidays, give you, your ungrateful ass kids. And it's not even just the ungrateful kids, your ungrateful ass family. You understand? Give all of them all of these, just pagan holidays so they can partake in these pagan holidays just so that you can stay broke. I mean, hell, that's 3 months in a row. And the crazy thing is, you know what you're supposed to do in fall? Do you know? I call it building a squirrel fund. You're supposed to start stocking up for the winter. That's what we've done for thousands of years. You go, you feast throughout the summer, have a good time, get fattened up, whole shebang. And then you come into fall, now you start rationing a little bit and you store what you can store so that when you go into winter, when food is scarce, you're burning off that fat, your fat reserves and greatly rationing out the food that you have preserved. But you know what these devils, this goddamn oppressor has you doing during the winter? 3 back-to-back holidays that land at what time of the month? Right when you got to pay rent. Right when you got to pay all this doggone money for candy, for a feast, and presents. Right at the end of the month. Then the next day, next Monday, maybe even because 25th. So what? So that's a week. The next week is the 1st. You got rent. You got just rent. You got your power. You got gas. You got trash. Everything you got Netflix with no chill. You got Hulu. Whatever all your monthly dues is due at the time that you're supposed to be conserving and preserving until we break back into spring. I mean, Salakia, but do y'all not see how wicked and twisted that is? How we can get, fugazied into throwing our entire life away, throwing our entire savings, our entire squirrel fund away because the white man said it, that's what we're supposed to do. Because in reality, the majority of us, all of America, the majority, we ain't making enough to goddamn, pay for rent and all that, pay for everything and all the activities and all the food. We're not making enough for all that. But you know what? Y'all sure as hell is conditioned to try and make ends meet. Put yourself into debt. You know what I'm saying? Like Salakia, right? The Lord, you do what you're supposed to do. Guess what you ain't doing? Spending all this doggone money on some stupid holiday that doesn't even mean anything. In fact, it pisses off the Lord. Pisses off the Most High God. So in other words, when you don't do it, what do you have? Oh, I got my squirrel fun. Hold on. Let me. Because, you know, squirrel gathers and hides nuts from trees. Because y'all ain't going to catch me with no doggone paws, right? You understand? Now you actually got your nuts from trees, right? Because you're not spending it on things that don't even matter. Things that you can do. You can have a Christmas type ordeal. You can give your child a present in the dead middle of summer. There's nothing wrong with that. You want to do it in the wintertime? There's nothing wrong with that. You want to do it in the springtime? There's nothing wrong with that. You want to do it in the fall? There's nothing wrong with that. Why does it have to be when they tell you, though? This goes right back to Amos 5:21, like we read earlier. You understand? But let's read on. Let's get this wrapped up. We're getting a little short on time, right? Point is, understand that the Most High God will provide for you. And part of the Most High God providing for you is just you listening and obeying, and just how much more of an increase you get off of that. Not doing what the hell that everybody else is doing. You understand? Verse 37. And Habakkuk cried, saying, O Daniel, Daniel, take the dinner which God hath sent thee. And Daniel said, Thou hast remembered me, O God. Neither hast thou forsaken them that seek thee and love thee. So Daniel arose and did eat, and the angel of the Lord set Habakkuk in his own place again immediately. Upon the seventh day, the king went to bewail Daniel. And when he came to the den, he looked in, and behold, Daniel was sitting. Then cried the king with a loud voice, saying, Great art thou, great art Lord God of Daniel, and there is none other beside thee. And he drew him out and cast those that were the cause of his destruction into the den, and they were devoured in a moment before his face. So in other words, this was a third time that the king of Babylon saw that the things that Daniel stood on, Daniel's integrity Daniel's integrity and trust in the Most High God paid off and preserved Daniel's life. And in fact, it cost everybody else's life that went up against Daniel, that tried to kill him. You understand? Everybody that tried to end Daniel's life because they wanted to keep and maintain a lie, they wanted to go up against one of the Most High God's servants, they paid the price that they wanted Daniel to succumb to. You understand? And this is why it's extremely important. This is why it's extremely important for us all to understand that no matter what position that you're going through, what position that you are in, no matter what you're going through, don't be worried about what everybody else is doing. You understand? Because nobody else can get that crown of life put on your head. Nobody else can hold that sword to fight for you. It's up to you to earn that crown. It's up to you to keep on fighting. You understand? So that you can earn that crown. You understand? So with that, we're gonna close it off. We finished Bell and the Dragon. Lord, allow that y'all actually learn something. You know, like I said, this is one of my more favorite books to read. It's just give me 1 second so that I can get the announcements, and then we'll wrap up this class, right? Why did it do that? Give me 1 second. That is not it. Doggone it. There it is. All right, Salakia. All right, so all in all, moral of the story is quit doing what everybody else does. You understand? Come into the ISUPK under Commander General Yohana. Learn about the truth of who you are. Learn about the truth about what the Most High God is actually about, and learn about the truth of how you're supposed to live if you're a so-called Negro, so-called Latino, Native American. You understand? Or the what the Bible calls you as is an Israelite. You understand? God's chosen people, the people that the Most High God had appointed to be above all other people on the face of the earth. And you can find that in the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 7, verse 6. You understand? So with that, here are the security announcements. We are the ISUPK started. We are the ISUPK started at 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Rule for new brother and sister. When a new brother or sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to shed themselves of the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There's another 6 months in which the brother and sister will court each other. After this 6-month period, the brother and sister will get permission from the head to marry. Ties, which is a commandment, can be found in the book of Numbers, chapter 18, verse 21, and the book of Malachi, chapter 3, verses 8 through 10. Maishrah, which means 10th in the Hebrew, 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you. Give to the Treasury Department or teacher. Priest fund, free will offering for priests. It's not mandatory. It can be whatsoever amount you would like. Our upcoming Holy Convocation, we do have the Southern Cookout in Texas. If y'all would like to partake in that, make sure you reach out to your respective camp leaders to get information on that. You understand? Aside from that, be prepared. April 20th, right? April 20th, Durham, North Carolina. Go ahead, pay your $200 Passover fee. You understand? Start setting up to get your plane tickets. You understand? And it's real important for all of us to do our part to lock in them doggone hotel rooms. Commander General Yohana has it set up so that we can have the entire hotel to be just ISUPK. But we got to do our part to make sure that we lock in one of those, we lock in enough of those hotel rooms that they'll reserve the rest, they'll keep it reserved to be just that. You understand? Want to be just a beautiful thing that, hell, we can get down and, be niggas in our own hotel room. You understand? The entire weekend. You understand? If that's something that, you would like to partake in, make sure that you do your part so that we can actually make that a reality. You understand? If anyone wants to be a trooper in the school, to start wearing all black, boots, shirt, pants, headband, and scarf. You understand? With that, class dismissed.